Like, if we're talking and we're like, oh.
Are you nervous about those trousers?
No, but I am now.
No, but you were saying
What?
you did. You know. All right.
Nah,
Some shorts
fuck,
on?
man, I'm trying not to move.
Some shorts on then.
Joking.
It's fine.
Are they that bad? Yeah.
No, they're fine. It's your own house, mate. Relax.
Alright, let's have it. Press record. Let's have it.
Let's go.
Let's have it.
Welcome.
Oh, is it already recording?
Yeah.
Oh, magic.
So-
Right, go.
Welcome, Joe Vlogs, episode 16. Here we have it.
No,
No,
it's cool.
it's cool.
No.
Welcome, Joe Vlogs, episode 16. Here we are. Ben Cayley, Mike Wells, everyone.
Yeah. Pleasure, mate. Pleasure to be on here.
Pleasure.
Ever since I watched the first episode, I think it was Jimmy Malks on the first one, wasn't it?
Jimmy Malks, I think, was one of the first guests.
Yeah. Ever since I saw the first one, I was like, oh,
Respect that, bro.
gasping to get on here, mate. You know.
That's it, mate. It's been a while, mate. When I thought of doing this podcast, I thought the people I need on this podcast: Mike Wells, Ben Cayley.
Oh,
They are your podcast people.
Do you know what I reckon this is comparable to? You know the Joe Rogan episode where he gets Alex Jones?
Right. And Eddie Bravo. And
Like 4 hours.
Bro, Alex Jones is going, there's vampires in the fourth dimension, man, that are freaking paedophiles, bro.
Bro, like Eddie Bravo is just like
Bro.
talking about fucking people in
Flat,
suits.
bro, flat Earth.
Yeah, bro.
People in suits.
No, he's like the Hollywood elite man. They're all in suits.
Oh.
And Hemlock Grove, dude. And they're like, what?
Nah, bro, there's one part, Alex Jones takes a fucking hit on a blunt and he goes, and the whole room's silent and he goes, vampires are in the ninth dimension, Joe. And you know, like, his face goes bare red and like bare veins come out of him, mate.
No, I'm getting a drink, man. Fuck it.
Alright, what? Safe.
No.
I introduce a podcast.
Oh
do that.
shit, yeah.
Nah, bro, alright, get it. We'll edit it
No,
out.
no,
We'll
no.
edit it out. Fuck
He's
it
in down
out.
now. He's in down now.
Alex Jones.
For
He's
what?
charged, isn't he?
For what?
From saying that remember that school shooting? Yeah, Sandy Hook school shooting.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
What, you said it didn't happen?
Yeah. So Alex Jones, even on Rogan, he was saying this said it didn't happen. They're all actors, paid by the government. Didn't happen. The family took it to court. Man, fucked it for it.
He's a mad kid, he's a mad kid.
Isn't he also a crippling alcoholic?
No, I don't think so. Just an unhealthy man.
Unhealthy
So
man.
People were like, he defoed he was defo on like coke as well when he was going to the bathroom and shit. He was like,
Mate, he stormed
he
the
was
White
like,
House.
let's go to the bathroom.
He was at the fucking insurrection in the White House, wasn't he, in like January
Alex
2021?
Jones?
Yeah, he was there.
Really?
Yeah, he's a
Fucking
mad kid.
use it. Have you seen it?
Did you see that video of that woman that got shot?
When?
When they stormed the White House?
No,
I haven't seen it.
Like this year. And mate, she jumps over the barrier
Oh, yeah.
and security guards literally.
Yeah.
Like-
Did she die? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was mad.
Well, I'm pretty sure she did. Don't quote me on that, innit?
Yeah, no, that was crazy. That was the
Do your research, man.
that was mental. That fucking storm in the White House.
Yeah, it's random.
Fucking mad.
It's a madness. America's just a fucked up place at the moment, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Division
If there's any reason I needed to hate Americans more, it was that event.
yeah. Why do you hate Americans?
It's a massive
Would you
generalisation,
Would you
Michael.
not travel to America and that? And, like,
Shithole.
go around there.
Nah.
Fuck America.
No, do you know what it is with Americans, man? They're just they're too much, man. Like,
What do you mean?
In your face.
nah, but like, do you know what? This is sounding really ignorant of me because I've probably met a handful of Americans in my life, so I'm probably not in a position to comment on the country as a whole.
Yeah.
But based off the experience I've had with American people that I've met, they're just like, I think immature is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I think it is, man? They don't start drinking until they're 21, innit?
That is a
Yeah.
factor.
Whereas like we're like 14 with a bottle of Frosty Jacks in the park.
Yeah.
So like I think because of that, I don't know if immature is the right word I'm looking for, man. But like
They do that.
they're just like, my mate was telling me about this American that he met in fucking Australia, and like you'll crease at this man. Like he tried to be like part of the English boys, and like he'd see them at breakfast and go, "Sup, governor." Sup, governor. Hey, should we get a Ruby Murray? Oh, do you not like? Bro,
That's hilarious.
And I don't know, man.
Nah, that's funny.
It's
Man.
just like things like around
That
the
was
shore
very
allow
cool.
it, man. You know what I mean? But
So, mate, bro, they do like
they're just extra. They're just extra people.
They do those videos where like they'll be like down it, and it'll be like a WKD, and like some
Yeah.
girl will down it like kind of fast, and everyone going no, all these in their minds,
That's what I
right?
mean,
It's like, yeah, it is a bit mad. I'd love to go there, man. Like,
I've been there quite a lot.
Yeah, no, it'd be a sick country to visit. It's just as people, I struggle, man, to fucking.
yeah, I don't know.
Do we swear on this?
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
bro. Yeah. Say anything you like, man.
Oh, so.
Anything.
Oh.
The worse, the better, man.
Okay.
Gets cancelled. But
Yeah, man.
But yeah, nah. But maybe not having a go at Americans though. Do you know what I mean? Because
I like America.
You never know who's watching it.
yeah, I reckon America. Probably half of the people could be watching this are American. I want to get big in America, man, because it's a big market. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I don't think many famous people here, like, are famous in America in terms of like podcast, comedy, things like that.
Comedy, Jimmy Carr's massive in America.
It's totally.
Yeah, but Jimmy Carr. Like, think about how many people like.
Yeah, but they don't get our humour. They don't get irony.
But I think that's certain people though. Like,
And also, there's a shit ton of American comedians.
Yeah.
It's not me, like.
Do you know what? That's a very good point, bro.
Mm.
I feel like you can't take the piss out of an American.
Yeah.
No,
So dude, quit being a douchebag, man. Whereas like if I take the piss out of you,
Like,
and you take the piss out of me, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, Peter Kay can never be famous in America. He can never be famous.
I know what you
He
mean.
can never get that kind of humour. But Jimmy Carr.
It doesn't translate really, does it, to the?
No, but I've met quite a lot of Americans. I've got still got family from there because of Matt.
Yeah.
His girlfriend's American, and having been to like New York, Chicago, and LA, the people are different in each place.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
also,
yeah,
here's a big factor. Here's a big factor. We grew up quite, not everyone, but not that optimistic on life. Well, I'll get a car, I'll get a house, gonna be missus, I'll be it. They fucking grow up thinking I'm either gonna be two things: Tom Brady, the president, and everyone has that belief. They're optimistic people. We're not, in general, like that.
Yeah.
So people in like New York are the people like brash, in your face.
Okay.
Not
So we're getting more.
People like people in the Midwest a bit more laid back, like Christians, family, God, guns, and community.
Yeah.
Not like how people here probably were about 100 years ago, kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
Our grandparents, people on the West Coast, like, bro, it's kind of like cool, bro. You know,
Yeah.
like California, like weed, sat back, chilling,
Mad accent.
surfers, that's a mad accent. That was a
the
shit
accents
accent.
on the podcast, you know what I mean?
But yeah, they're all different. Like,
Yeah.
it's a ridiculously large place.
Texas and like
Texans are really
like
nice.
Texas
They're
and
really nice people.
Los Angeles are just
Yeah.
mad different.
Yeah,
Mm.
they're really nice people, but they love guns.
Yeah.
And
And
tigers.
it's so big as well, isn't it? Like it's
Yeah.
It is
ridiculous
massive,
thinking
man.
about it. like,
I always forget how fucking big it is. Like it's stupid how big it is.
There was a video on YouTube of obviously Texas has more wild tigers there than Africa
that's insane.
because people can buy tigers and keep them in the land.
Like Joe
So
Exotic,
a
you know.
tiger got loose on the streets.
What?
Yeah, Texas.
So like
Texas.
so a farmer will just buy a tiger and
So
put it on his.
all your billionaires in Texas will be like, I want a tiger. You can buy a tiger now.
Fuck that, man.
And bring it to Texas. I have his ranch.
Nah.
Bearing in mind, Texas is bigger than France.
Oi. Have you seen Gaz from Body Bleach?
Yes.
Not recently.
No,
Like, he's like living on a ranch in Texas, man.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
Swear
yeah.
down.
That he's Gaz all
Yeah.
over. What? Is he actually?
Yeah, swear down.
He looks like he'd work in a ranch in America.
Yeah.
How did he get there? Like,
He's misses, isn't he?
fuck knows.
Oh, he's on it.
He got a missus out there and moved out there and that next thing he was like,
What a crazy.
he sat there like an AK-47. After
Yeah, he looks
elk.
like he'd love that life. Like,
Yeah.
that's like.
Yeah.
Oh,
Play to him.
Speaking of America, do you know what I watched the other day? It's in Supersonic.
Yes.
The Oasis
Yeah.
documentary. Yeah.
When they're like, oh, we landed in America, we bought this stuff called meth, but we weren't too sure about it.
Nah, I can't remember. Meth.
Is it Supersonic, the documentary? Where it,
Yeah.
like,
Oasis. Yeah.
It's basically just a load of like B-roll footage from like all
Yeah.
and it's just like them
But
talking
I
over
think
it.
I just watched it when it came out. So I don't know.
Mate, it's so-
Meth.
It's like, oh yeah, one of the boys got this stuff called crystal meth, and we thought it was just like coke and that. And he was like, yeah,
Yeah.
we were just railing lines of it, and we was up for days, and we tried to do our first gig there, and apparently they were just fucked.
No.
Like, fully sleep deprived, like,
Oh.
just apparently just an absolute shambles.
Oh, that's rough.
And then Noel fucked off.
Why?
Like, flew up
An
north.
argument.
Because,
An
I
argument.
think it's probably because he'd been on a meth bender.
Yeah, sure. Like it's normal.
Yeah.
Like,
And he was probably like,
freaking the
he's
fuck
probably,
out.
yeah, he's probably like,
He's probably sitting there going, "Fuck this." Bro, no wonder.
Bro, he flew. If I remember correctly, he flew up north. They're on the west coast. He flew up north somewhere to meet this bird. Couldn't even remember her name.
No, he flew up north and he goes, I met this girl and she was like, we can do. Don't know. And wrote a few songs.
Yeah.
They went back.
And then they found him there, and they were like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Yeah, let's carry on."
What the
And then they just
fuck?
cracked on.
He sounds like a mad geezer.
Maybe
man.
he was a
I
Vegas.
thought Liam was the nutter.
I think they had an argument and he just left, so I thought this was off. But
I don't know what band it was, man, but the other day I was looking at this thing and they were like, we'd only ever do drugs. Like, we were quite good because we do drugs after the show. So we were never like known for being smashed on stage. We always wanted to be professional. So what would happen is we'd do the show, then after the show you'd all get fucked, like every drug imaginable. And then apparently, like, it was like one show we did, we finished the show, got absolutely fucked, and then something happened and we had to go back on. And he was like I don't think someone turned up, so they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna get you all back on for another hour, and they had to go back on stage just fucked, man, and they like couldn't do anything. They were like, yeah, that's what.
have you been to a gig where the band's cancelled on the day?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think I've been to enough gigs, really,
Same.
mate, to.
When the band's been cancelled,
About
No, I don't
Manchester
think so.
does.
I don't think when the band's been cancelled. I think
Like
Who-
Bieber cancelled, he was on 2 pieces.
someone said Zach Pardo went to see I think it was The View once.
Yeah.
And apparently the lead singer was like so fucked he couldn't sing, so the drummer was like, oh, I'll have to sing. So
What?
yeah, bro. Or like the bassist or something, like the lead singer apparently was just lying on stage, like he couldn't
Bro,
speak.
I
So the
did
guy
like-
was like,
Could you imagine being a fucking rock star?
bro,
Like,
it would be insane, man.
I'd
Like I
love
was
it.
thinking
That
that,
should be
like,
fucked,
do you
bro.
reckon it would be like, it'd still be sick, innit? Because on who's that guy that was in he was on Joe Rogan's podcast and he was talking about being famous, and he was like, it's way shitter to be famous now. He was like, when I was young, like 18, killing it, he's like, you could do anything you wanted, and you just like block the paparazzi out,
yeah,
get away with everything.
Yeah,
He's
I
like,
think
now
so.
you like cheat on 1 billion girls, do a load of drugs, you could like
Everyone
you're in
knows
every
about
single
it.
piece of paper and online.
Yeah, but
It's like, so
I
it's
think,
not as
yeah, but I
fun.
think that's overthought. I think if you own it, if you say, yeah, I do that, what? If you own your fucking shit and say, yeah, I go out, do this, do that, and that.
And
like,
also-
like, a bit like Post Malone. He's a bit like a crackhead, but he's like, yeah.
And he probably still has like bare shit that people don't know about.
Mm.
Like him just on a regular Saturday night, he's probably moving mad in it, like
Yeah,
just doing some
yeah.
mad shit.
Yeah, for sure.
I think as long as you own it, and like, it's obviously a lot of them lie about it, like, oh, I didn't do drugs, or oh, I did see that girl. Then you you found out you're a twat. But if you own it, it's not as bad.
I think it can, like, fuck you though. Because you know the band Sticky Fingers?
Yeah, mate, they're
Yeah.
sick.
Well, I went and saw him in Oz, mate.
Yeah,
And,
they're good. And they're massive in us.
Yeah, they're huge. But mate, I felt like a granddad. Like, we went to this gig, man, and fucking, like, 16-year-old kids everywhere. They'd left their jaw at home.
Shit.
Like, mate, I'm this kid, man. It's like getting dragged. Like, his jaw was like literally like, 5 feet ahead of him. You know what I mean? Like leading him, and he was like,
Yeah.
and everybody's back going, bro! But
Shit.
and I was just like, right, I'm having a few beers and just watching the light. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, this
that's
is a
a bit
bit
mad.
much, man. But yeah, what I was going to say, the lead singer, Dylan, I can't remember his surname, it might be Thomas, I don't know. All he can do is sing. Like, he can't talk between the songs, innit?
Why?
Because he's just fucked, man. Like, he's been in rehab there. So like,
Really?
he'll sing, and then the bassist at the back has to come forward and be like,
No.
right, so the meaning of this next song that we're going to do for
No.
you, and then like,
What is he like? Fully just like.
yeah, it's cooked, mate. Like, he's been in rehab there, and like, he's just fucked, man. And towards the end of the night, he got more and more like pissed as he was singing, and he eventually mustered up the courage to like get on the mic and go, "Cheers." Like everyone was like, "Way!"
That's insane.
But like all he could do was sing it. Like it's mad that he had the confidence.
Yeah,
like,
trust.
when the tune started coming in, he'd be like, "Wow!" Like he could sing, but he couldn't talk in between the songs.
That is mad.
How do you get through life?
He's cooked, mate.
That is mad.
I don't know. Like,
That is crazy though, because some people like it does make sense in a way because he could be like, yeah, singing, calm, no problem.
But like Gareth Gates.
Fuck that. Yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah.
He goes, I don't stutter when I sing, but before that I was like, I'm Gareth.
No, that was a mad impression of the
yeah, that was good, bro.
But now he's fine after years of training. But he goes, I'm like Papaya back in the day. He was like, hi Simon, Sharon, and Louis. Like I'm Gareth, and he like sing.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
going to prick on stammers, but yeah, it's about what people go through.
Yeah, no. Cancel going like this, going, yeah, it's mad what people go through. Nah, like, yeah, nah. It is mad though because it must have. If you've got the confidence to do that, you'd expect him to have the confidence to do anything.
Like the Queen's dad, he's the same. He's got a stammer on it.
Yeah, King's Speech.
Mm.
I don't think that's not confidence though, is it? That's like an
Did
impediment.
you see that video that went around like the internet a couple of years ago of that school kid?
What?
Where like his teacher helped him out, mate. It's like it's fucking heartbreaking.
Bro!
When
the little Asian
stands
geezer.
up in like assembly.
Bro, yeah, and the
Bro,
woman
I'm
was
getting
like,
emotional talking
bro, the
about
woman
it.
Was that
pulling
on
her
Educated
eye
Yorkshire?
out,
Yeah, mate, it's fucking
Educated
heavy, mate.
Yorkshire.
and he puts his tunes in, and he's like, I thank you, and everyone's like, oh,
Yeah,
bro.
he's going, go on, son.
How much did that teacher love that man? He felt like he was
at the
like,
back, like,
bro.
Wait, was that on Educated Yorkshire?
Yeah.
yeah.
That was
That's
sick,
heavy.
man. He's like a motivational speaker now, you know.
Yeah.
Like- Say.
No, I'm saying that,
You're
like,
like, yeah, I'd give a fuck.
fucking milk the fuck out of that clip, didn't he?
Nah, man. But fucking hell, bro. But
Fair play.
you know, nah, but yeah, that was fucking emotional as fuck, man. I
Yeah,
need to
So, jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
fucking hell, we're going there. That's what. See, this is the thing. When we started doing this podcast as well, I was like, you do the classic like Joe Rogan conspiracy theories, but not many. Like, I don't know whether that many people believe in those conspiracy theories. Like, Alex Jones is perfect to get on a podcast because he's like, he does believe in all of them.
Rogan's also had people on there that have wrote books about saying most conspiracy theories are actually bollocks.
Well,
And
there's.
sort of through 'em. But the issue with conspiracy theories or conspiracies is this: a lot of them are bollocks. However, there are percentages that actually probably are true, and that they get proven are true. Like the Gulf of Tonkin, like Bay of Pigs.
What's that?
Gulf of Tonkin is when the US started the war in Vietnam and said that we got bombed, but they bombed themselves and started the war off with
They
Vietnam.
bombed themselves.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
No.
So
This is the argument with 9/11. Without going down the rabbit hole, because I know this isn't what this podcast is about, innit?
Nah, okay. Good man.
Oh.
Let's get down there.
We'll go there. We'll go there. The argument from what I've looked at, I'm not sure if I'm 100% on board with this, but fuck knows, this is what people speculate, is that the US did 9/11 so they had a reason to invade the Middle East so that they could get the oil and you know.
Yeah.
which makes logical sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
But it's like how I can't personally imagine a human being capable of doing that.
Really?
I could probably imagine a human being.
Well, okay, yeah, all right.
But I just don't think
Like, it's just fucked.
that many people
Like,
would know about it and it be like. I just don't think. I think we'd know if that was the case. I don't get how someone could hide something like that and plan it and make the public and the world think that, like, cover it up. I just think it's impossible to do.
Really?
Like, it's too hard. It'd just be too hard to, like, if that was your idea, if they were like, right, we're gonna do this, put that attack together, and then it would just be impossible to.
Yeah, but then there's this, like, I'm when I was young, I was like fully like not in the rabbit hole. I was building the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I was like digging it up.
It's interesting as fuck, but that's what it gets you.
There's so many unanswered questions in 9/11. That's the issue. There's the why the buildings insured them previously. Why the videos of explosions happening at the bottom of the towers? Why have 4,000
those things?
Why have 4,000 engineers said we want an investigation of why these buildings fell inwards?
Yeah.
You know, why would four planes in US airspace unresponsive to radio in US airspace?
What didn't they just happen to be doing a training drill that day?
There were
where,
four
like,
air
like,
bases on that coast. If any plane was off communication in the US airspace, there were 4 train bases. There were enough F-15s that will scramble and shoot down over New York City.
Yeah.
New York, not Maryland, not Baltimore, New York City.
But
they would never happen.
But also, like, you know, when you're saying this now, surely, like, someone's answered those questions.
Training day, like I said. They want to train day that day.
And this is it.
Yeah, exactly. But
That's
that might be the
mad.
case. It sounds a bit like that, you know, because I don't know much about that, but like, you know, Epstein and the cameras like shutting off.
That's
when he killed himself. Like, that's something where you can be like,
bollocks.
You'd be like, explain it, and they're like, oh yeah, we had a fault, nothing we could do. That is a bit like where you're like, okay,
well, Epstein,
that's dodgy.
Epstein.
And they'd surely agree that that's dodgy. They'd be like, if that was you and you were looking after him, you'd be like, this is going to look fucking awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It did happen.
Yeah.
Epstein tried to kill himself twice. That's the ironic thing. He failed the first time, and then it happened again.
Well, look,
that's another story.
This is the thing with conspiracy theories, man. Have you seen The Social Dilemma?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know when someone's on Facebook or they're on YouTube, this is how the algorithm works, isn't it? If you watch a video about 9/11 being an inside job and you give it a thumbs up and you comment, YouTube takes that data and it will feed you more videos that are related to that.
Yeah.
So what people end up doing is they might find a conspiracy theory that probably has a decent argument to it, do you know what I mean? But then the only content they will consume after that, as YouTube gathers more data on what they like and feeds them more conspiracy theories, they just end up with hundreds of theories about all kinds of shit, and they can't differentiate between what's fake news and what isn't fake news, because this is all the content that they end up consuming.
Yeah, that's mad.
So you just end up with these, like, I don't know what the word is, like conspiracy theory, like armies almost, that like will just bat off anything that is normal, do you know what I mean? And it almost becomes part of their identity, do you know what I mean? It's like, I am a conspiracy theorist now, and it's like, let's say, you know, when the vaccination came out for COVID and everything, let's say they had never looked at a single, they hadn't looked into the vaccine or anything like that, because like vaccines have always been a bit of a fucking touchy subject with conspiracy theories and stuff. Straight away they'd be like, nah, government control, like, without even looking at a single thing, do you know what I mean? And that's this is the mindset that people end up adopting, and it becomes dangerous, man, because they just start, I don't know, because I used to do this myself, man. Like when I first looked into something like 9/11, for example, and I'd be like, the whole world's fucked. What else is going on then? Like, and you just get fed more and more content from these channels on YouTube, because the algorithm learns more about you the more that you consume, and before you know it, you just ended up down all of these rabbit holes, man. And you don't even fucking know it.
And they don't give a fuck. Like,
more watch time.
They want you, they don't care. It is kind of mad.
Bro, the smartest people in the world are sat in a room figuring out how to keep you on these apps for longer.
It's fucked. Because they don't care, do they? They just want you to stay on that app.
The Netflix CEO
get you addicted.
Netflix said our biggest issue is sleep. That's our biggest hurdle. People sleeping.
To be fair though, like, surely people have always had, like, social media, obviously it's different, but everyone's always had like addictions to gambling, addictions to maybe
the point is this,
like a game of some sort, or something that's
not like this. The point is this. So we used to have obviously drugs, alcohol, same thing, but drugs, alcohol, gambling, the same wires in your brain trigger when you watch them, addicted to them. We've never had nerds sat in a room working out how to make sure that you don't leave any social media and you screen all day. So you've got actual drugs and actual tech all at once. It's never happened before.
Do you know what was very interesting? You know, Explained on Netflix.
Yeah.
So I was watching one last night on casinos, and it drew this graph on, you know, dopamine that gets released in your brain.
Yes.
So it's like, you know, when you're on a slot machine and you press boom, and the slots are spinning.
Yeah.
That's when your dopamine goes, woo, because it's like, it's the thought of potential reward.
Yeah.
It's not the actual reward in itself. At the end of it, it's the thought of potential reward coming. So when you pull out your phone and you refresh your Instagram feed or your Facebook feed, as that's loading and you're like, what am I going to find here?
Yeah.
And it's like the thought of what you're going to find. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, we could go down all sorts of rabbit holes here about what you can find on social media, but more often than not, it's either, I mean, particularly Instagram, it's basically soft porn.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it fully is like these days.
Yeah.
Like if you hit the explore page, it's literally soft porn.
Facebook took people who work in gambling casinos to work for them, and they said one of the first inventions was notifications, and the like, because it's that constant reward.
Because it's that thought of,
Yeah.
what could be on the other side of this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it some kind of validation from another person?
Have you even listened to a guy called Simon Sinek?
Yeah.
He's
He's an absolute donny, mate.
fucking genius.
What's he do?
He's like a marketing guy, but he basically realised, he's one of his points of this, there are restrictions on age for dopamine hits. So alcohol, 18, sex, 18, drugs, in countries, so only certain countries, 18. You're 6 on Snapchat, and you're getting 30 hits a day.
Yeah, it's fuck, mate.
You can get Snapchat.
So So a 6-year-old is getting dopamine hits. Their brain is not developed to have dopamine hits. They're not ready for that.
Fucked,
Their brain wants to watch Rugrats.
What do you reckon?
So it should be banned.
Yeah.
For anyone up to age
That's what I'm
18.
saying.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's the way forward?
To
ban.
Yeah.
Like,
or if all the CEOs of these companies, Apple, Google, Facebook, are banning their kids from having it, then why the fuck are we having it?
But kids will find a way, mate. They always do. That's not the answer, because kids will always find. I think banning it will only cause more kids to want to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you limit it.
I want to rebel and fucking do it. I think the way that we fucking solve it, mate, is actually go deeper than that and start looking at how these kids are seeking validation in the wrong form. Because in that Social Dilemma documentary, for example, you had that scene with the girl, I think she's like 12, 13 or whatever. She puts up a picture with no filter or anything, boom, no likes.
Yeah.
Throws up another picture with a little filter on, people are commenting, oh, you're so pretty, you're so gorgeous, blah, 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 blah. Like, the problem is obviously the social media, but like the root problem is seeking validation outside of herself, you know what I mean? From other people.
Yeah.
So
How you solve that?
well,
Where does that come from?
I don't know, man. You teach kids to fucking just be happy with who they are.
I feel like everyone.
Which is like a monstrous task. Like, I'm not saying that's like click of a finger and you can do it, but like.
If you look at
I feel like everyone, most people have sort of tried. Like maybe in the past 50 years, maybe. Like I think all of our probably parents, and especially maybe 10 years after us or whatever, they probably know they're like, oh, we want them to feel like that no one has to validate like them, their feeling, like that we want them to be completely confident, we want them to be, and then the child grows up, like what makes them, is it, because surely it can't just be like people blamed it on like magazines, didn't they? Like before,
it wasn't at this level,
bro,
magazines level.
Alright bro, this is gonna be fucking, alright, this is gonna be stupidly deep, but fuck it. You look at the dolls that kids play with. Look at an Action Man figure. Massive cut geezer, right?
Yeah.
So that's almost portraying to men how you need to look to be accepted as a man. You look at the dolls that the girls play with as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure like they apply fucking makeup to like these dolls and stuff, and like.
For piff. No.
But like, what I'm saying is, like, from an early age, it's drilled in
Yeah.
to kids, like, in order to be deemed as socially acceptable and validated. Like, they're playing with these toys, man. You know,
Yeah.
like, the majority of the reason why I used to bang gym so much, like 6 days a week back in like the Plan Fit days, was like, I was like, fuck, this is who I am now. And like, I need to be the biggest geezer in the room.
Did you still feel like that during like Plant Fit?
Yeah, mate, and this is why I ended up sacking it off, because I realised that the sole reason I was doing it was purely for validation from other people.
Yeah.
And that it became so deeply ingrained in my identity of who I was, of like this incessant need to like walk in a room and have the tightest polo on and fucking, you know what I mean, and just like be seen as the biggest guy.
Mm.
And the day I realised that was the only reason I was training, I was like, well, this just completely defeats the objective why I'm doing exercise, because exercise is meant to make you feel good from a mental aspect and also just be healthy for you, which is why I just do fucking like runs. And
Was that like an overnight thing? Like,
yeah,
that's a big
it was,
change,
mate.
isn't it?
It was more or less, man. It was more or less. Yeah, it was mad. But
That's crazy. That
know?
like one day you can be like that, and then you just have like a light bulb moment and be like,
yeah, deep down I always knew that. Deep down, the like, mate, it's so artificial, mate. Like, when I put pictures on Instagram and stuff, and like, again, this is another reason why I sacked off doing that online personal training stuff, because like, so much of my self-worth was based on getting a certain number of likes on a picture that I put up, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if one picture didn't get as much likes as the last one, I'd be like, I gotta fucking get on the treadmill, bro. Like, I gotta eat less food.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
it's
fucked.
fucked, mate.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
this is
yeah,
what
that's
social
fucked.
media does to people, ain't it? Well, not to everyone. Maybe I just have a weaker mindset than
Nah,
other people.
because because a lot of like most people are like that though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
people, it doesn't matter what you're like. Like, you could be like, oh, I don't care about any of that. Like, people that don't even care about social media, they'd get it. They'd be like, oh, download Facebook, and then you just get hooked into it. Do you know what I mean? It's like saying to someone, oh, I think I'm too strong to be an alcoholic or a drug. Like, I don't think anyone can say that.
I
Like,
delete
that's
social
what you
media in the week, and I get it on Twitter and Insta, and I'll get it about Friday afternoon. And by Saturday today, I was like, I'm already more down. I'm more aggy
want. Yeah.
already. I thought, goodbye, fuck it off game. And I get it for like sports or events that are happening, etc. I'm like, this is just, because Insta now, the algorithm's outrageous. Because the search button, and below that you got like all these pictures of people.
Yeah.
You get lost, fucking lost
Mate,
in people's shit.
They explore.
Absolute shit. And they know, and also they know what you're gonna
Crazy,
see.
bro.
It's fucking mad. It's worse than Facebook. Because all that is just like, so and so's nan's passed away. So and so's got an event happening, whatever. Twitter's just like funny shit, trolls and your mates. But Insta has got you by the bollocks. It knows what you're gonna see, and it just keeps feeding you, whether it be like celebrities, women, sport. It's fucking. It is. For a period, I was never depressed, but like, probably early in the year, I was thinking I'm just down as fuck.
Yeah.
Got rid of all of it. Just regulate it for weekends, an hour at a time, like fine.
And it made you feel better?
Yeah, because it's nonsense. It's dopamine. That level of dopamine. I'm not a gambler. I don't go to a casino. I don't like take serious drugs or drink all day. Dopamine hits.
Serious drugs.
But yeah, like it's the same as that. It's dopamine. It's just pure dopamine, and it's just not, your body's not ready for it.
Yeah.
We're not designed to be exposed to such like hyper connectivity.
Yeah.
Like
It's mad.
in such a fake and enhanced way.
Are you two into learning about the news?
Scapple.
Time?
What?
The news? No, scapple.
What?
that?
Scapple was like piss and shit and that.
I feel like it's just like shit on another woman. Fuck's sake, I was going to ask my mum to watch this.
Nah. We'll edit that out.
But
Scapple. Yeah.
like, I get quite a few news apps for a period. I was like learning constantly of news updates
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
world.
Yeah.
That's as bad as Insta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it gives
Oh,
you just a walk
mate,
through the world.
it's so true.
And it's designed to do one thing and one thing only. It's similar to what we spoke about with YouTube earlier. It's like news apps and news channels profit from eyes being on their content for as long as possible. So they will hook you in with the most curiosity-invoking headline that's like, I have to read this to find out more. Like, I can't not click on this, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They are some of the best copywriters in the world writing their headlines so that they can hook people in.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you know, play on their fears or play on their insecurities, whatever.
Yeah. That's it, man. Like, I think people like that as well. Some people probably think like that. They'll be like, oh yeah, people like the Sun will write something about like a celebrity being caught in a nightclub. They'll be like, they'll look at that and think, oh, that paper's trying to get people in, even though they'll be reading like the Telegraph about like Israel. They're still trying to do the same thing, even though it's about something completely different, like serious. They're still trying to grab you in.
On a side note.
You're right. So this is mad. I've got to explain what's happened here. So, obviously I record this on my phone. The lads came over, we started the podcast, filming, up until about this 35-minute mark. You know what I mean? We're testing the waters, we're catching up. It's been a while since we've seen everyone. This is 35 minutes in, everything that we've talked about, you know, take it or leave it. We're just after this minute, we get into the deepest convo ever. It's probably Joe Rogan level. It's BAFTA winning. It's podcast award winning. It's going to blow the internet up. Got deep. Like I'm like, Jesus. This is the best. Now the podcast this is the best conversation I've ever had in my life. Like, let alone, I didn't even know I forgot the camera was there. This is like what I've envisioned the podcast to be. Like, I could dream of this podcast to be. So we smashed it. Just had the deepest, sickest jokes conversation about life, about everything. Then, that half an hour later, we go to have a break, check the camera, and it said my storage is full. And it stopped recording from this point. I feel physically sick. Like, I felt physically sick. We were like, this is a nightmare. Like, Ben and Mike can both vouch for this. So we're like, there's no way we can recreate that conversation. Like, so we sat back down. We were like, let's talk about something else. But it's one of them, man. So I'm just going to put it up there. But it's an awful feeling, to be honest. I've got to watch it and know that it's just in the abyss now. Do you know what I mean? I suppose we could say, oh, we had a conversation, you know, it doesn't have to be recorded, but like, imagine just like Steven Spielberg on a Netflix contract being like, oh, we recorded the best Star Wars ending ever, but and then going to the Netflix director and saying, oh, yeah, it weren't recording, but like, how good was it though that we done it? You know, that's not going to cut the mustard, is it? So anyway, I'm chatting shit. I'll keep watching. See, the thing is, it wouldn't usually bother me, because I'd go, like, if it's shit, it doesn't bother me, because I go, oh, well, you know, I don't care if people watch or not, it's just something I do for fun. This was like the one time where I was like, fuck, it's actually good. This is actually sick. Like, I was like, yes. Perfect. Like, I feel like this is it. This is the kickstart of the actual taking it seriously. And it's lost, so. Big up, everyone. Just keep watching.
Yeah.
I've never had shrooms. Have you?
You did fucking ayahuasca, didn't you?
Yeah.
What was that like? Insane.
The voice note.
Good.
Joe, he sent me a voice note and I was like, Megan, I want to do this.
Why you were on it?
No, next day.
What happens?
Bro, let me paint this story.
I saw James English done it, this podcast I listened to,
Yeah.
and he was like, yeah, just explain it, man, because
Alright, I'm glad that we got the video back working now, because this is a fucking story, mate.
fuck, I'm gassed.
So I was really good pals with this lad from Birmingham in Brisbane, innit? Funniest geezer you'll ever meet, like, he's class. Calls me one day, he goes, Mike, I found a shaman. I found a shaman in Brisbane, what are you saying? Because we've been on about it at the time, and it was like, I found a shaman. He's like, we go to his yard. He converts his garage into like I don't know what the word, like temple, like a suitable place to do it.
Yeah.
He converts his garage, bare mats and that. He's done it bare before. He brews it himself. It's calm. I was like, when else am I gonna
What
get
is it?
It's so in its solid form, it's DMT, smokable. Like, you know, people smoke DMT. It's the root of a tree found in the Amazon rainforest, and the vine of something else, I think. And yeah, you like boil it down into a brew. And so I land this geezer's yard, yeah. I land this geezer's yard, disaster.
Yeah.
It's like something like that you need to do in a forest at night. You know what I mean?
Right.
And this geezer's garage, we weren't really up to scratch, man, I'll be honest with you.
That's Aggie, bro.
Bro, I took a yoga mat and a pillow to sleep in. Like,
Nah,
it was,
I cannot think of
bro, it was
anything
fucking
worse, bro.
bad, man. He
In
built
his
like
garage?
a temple at the other end of the garage.
Was he? What was he? Was he okay? Like, or do you reckon?
No, he's a good guy, man. He'd done ayahuasca a lot. He had a teacher from Peru that had taught him everything. So we start getting down to it. We do a few things before we take the fucking liquid, the ayahuasca liquid.
Yeah.
Bro, he goes, oh, we're gonna do rape first.
What's that?
Spelled R-A-P-E. I was like,
Whoa.
it's his tobacco, yeah. He puts a bamboo like shoot up your nostril, and he goes and blows this like soot up your nose. And bro, I've never experienced like it shoots all the way back, and you feel it go all the way to the back of your head.
Oh.
And he was like, he's a mad fucker, man. He was like, yeah. When I was living in Berlin, I just stopped drinking coffee in the morning, and I just started self-administering rapé. You can get basically you get these things where like you blow and it goes up your own nose, innit? And bro, it's meant to like, boom, please sciences, make you better alert. And he did it, and for a few seconds I was like crying in pain, but then I was like, fuck me, we're awake.
Yeah.
Then he did something else that I can't remember the name of. It was like eye drops, which just made me cry there of like pain. But so it's part of the ritual, isn't it? And you got to respect the ritual and like all that sort of stuff. And then he was like, right, fuck it, we get onto the Ayahuasca. And
Ayahuasca.
Oh, fuck me, boys. Like you take a purge bucket with you, innit? You purge in one of three ways. You either after you take the liquid, you either shit, throw up, or cry.
What?
They say that purging is a way of getting all of the negative like spirits and energy out.
You try and do it, or you just do?
It just happens.
You
your body reacts in any way.
God.
So I'm sat there. I'm like, I feel a bit sick. I don't really need this shit. Started bawling my eyes out, like crying, bare, like literally just crying bare, like without getting too deep on the podcast, like just a couple bits with like family like came up and stuff, and like it was like 10 sessions of therapy in one night.
Oh shit, really?
Like it was fucking crazy, and like you experience a female entity, and they call her Mother Ayahuasca.
Yeah.
And she presented herself to me as a snake, like wrapped around a vine.
My God.
But like she can present herself in like when I've smoked DMT before, she's presented herself as this like Egyptian looking goddess. Like you feel a female presence in it. It's almost like your mum is like giving you a hug. It's fucking crazy, bro. Like I can't explain to you. And this shit just grows in the ground in the Amazon rainforest. Like it's fucked. So like I dealt with a couple of things that I've been really pushing away, you know what I mean? It was amazing, man. Like it was like 10 sessions of therapy in one night.
Really?
Like I just felt I had so much love for like my mum. Like I just kept seeing my mum, man. Like Mother Ayahuasca was like showing me my mum and stuff, and like and I was just like reflecting on like ways that I'd like acted towards people that might not have been the best ways of acting towards them, and like it's a very deep thing, man.
How long does it like last? Like do you
this is it, bro.
Do you still feel the benefits of it now?
To be honest with you, bro, I think if when I explain the full story to you, I'll be reflecting on that night for the rest of my life. So obviously I'm crying bare. I'm like, fuck, this is amazing. Like I'm getting so much out of me that I've like buried deep. Do you know what I mean? My mate Mark, the way that he purged, he shat his pants, man. Like, he didn't shit his pants. He made it to the toilet, but he was just shitting bare in it. And then I sat there and I'm like, oh, I feel amazing, man. Like, I'm seeing like all these patterns and like this female entity has like helped me deal with these things, and like this fucking shaman in this garage is playing this music, and I'm like, right. And then the shaman's like, do you want a second cup?
Oh, no.
I'm like, I'm fucking rags, mate. I'll have a second cup. Let's go.
Oh,
But the problem was, bro,
Oh no.
people have a second cup usually after they've shit or thrown up in it. So part of the potion's already come out of them.
Yeah.
All I'd done is cry. So I was like, yeah, I'll raggo have a second cup. Backed it off.
No. Bad.
I thought I'd lost my mind, mate, for like a solid hour and a half. Like, it was living hell.
No.
I can describe it.
Like how? What?
Like, because obviously I already had the first mixture that was still like infusing into my body, and then I did a second dose, and he said it was a very strong mixture that he'd made, and all I remember is like I was like, fuck, this is really hitting me, man. And I'd open my eyes, and everything it just become a geometrical pattern. Like I couldn't see, and like the room was like turning in on itself. And I was like, fuck. I was like, I've permanently cooked my mind, man.
No.
I was like, I'm going to be one of those geezers that you see, like in a hospital that's done too much acid. You know what I mean? And I got stuck in this negative thought loop, and I was on a downward spiral, man. I was like, oh my god, like I'm going to have to like get shipped back to the UK on a plane and have to be like fucking like, you know what I mean? Like restrained down, and I was like, I've absolutely cooked my mind.
That's hell.
So
Bro, it took me so long to snap out of it, man. I purged like I threw up, but it did nothing for me. Because they say that purging makes you feel better, innit?
Oh my god.
I really thought I'd fucked it, mate, for a long time, and then eventually I snapped out of it, and I was like, I've just been to hell and back. So if anything, mate, it taught me not to fuck with psychedelics, innit? Because you'll get your ass handed to you, mate. And I don't think there's anything that you can do that's stronger than a double dose of ayahuasca, really. Like,
fuck. What was the time between the first and second one?
I couldn't tell you, mate. Maybe an hour and a half.
Is that like bigger than LSD?
Yeah. LSD's man-made.
What's the one where people are like?
No, LSD's not
good for
man-made,
you.
mate. LSD comes from fucking ergonaut.
What's the one that's man-made then?
Psychedelics are from nature, mate. You can get like 2CB that I believe has had some kind of like man-made enhancements to it, but like acid, shrooms, ayahuasca.
I wouldn't do it just because that's just if weed makes you paranoid.
You can't compare weed to these.
No, that's what I'm saying. But if I smoke weed and I go, oh.
Well, do you know
like,
what, mate?
Imagine me being on fucking.
Do you know what, mate? Saying that, I haven't actually properly like smoked weed in fucking ages.
Years.
So maybe I would, after going through something like that, maybe I would be a bit more like, this is morning.
Yeah.
But mate,
fuck, that sounds horrific, bro.
But like, what was it? Was the way I described it was the most like beautiful and most terrifying night of my life, because the first half of it was amazing.
Yeah. So you're saying
I was like, how can something that's come out of the ground help me deal with all these emotions I've bottled up? Do you know
and you
what I mean?
still took like the positives from it in a way.
Yeah. So what I took from it was, because this is what they say, and you need to find lessons in your trip, and there's no bad trip. You need to find what it teaches you, and there's always a lesson. And what I took from it is that like I incessantly worry about things to a stupid degree, and tricking myself into thinking I was going to sit there and lose my mind was obviously an insane thought, because that's never going to happen. But it's funny, man, like when we were going into it, the gaffer, the fucking shaman, he was like, oh, set your intentions for what you want to really like uncover. And I was like, well, I haven't really got anything that I want to deal with at the moment, other than like I've been plagued with anxiety for like a fair few years. And like when I was younger it was much worse. I've dealt with it now, and I still can deal with it in a very good way, but I was kind of like, if there's anything that's in my life that I kind of want to deal with, it's that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was almost meant to happen, that hellish episode, so that I could go to hell and back and realise, fuck me, maybe your everyday problems aren't really as mad as you're making them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just what they say. when you come back
That's
from
good.
it.
But that's like in anything, man. You take anything out of it.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
I suppose it's a lesson.
It astonishes, mate. It astonishes me that when people smoke DMT or take ayahuasca, boom, female presence. Like, what is that, bro? It comes from the fucking ground.
Yeah, it's mad.
What?
Do you reckon? Because the thing is, that's very like, you know, when there's like a different dimension. They say stuff like that, don't they? And like, the spiritual is very. It's not just death.
Yeah. Do you
There's
think?
definitely
Oh,
something
well, no
else.
stretch of the imagination,
Yeah.
mate. I'm a very firm believer that. I don't know. To believe that you just died and boom, you just bones in soil and that's it. I think is, personally speaking, is not my belief. I don't actually have a clue what happens, but is it agnostic? Agnostic is
Agnostic's
when
like,
you don't have a firm belief, but you
You're
believe
not
that there's
sure.
something.
I think it.
You don't believe in it.
You don't believe, but
that sort of thing.
yeah.
Do you think from having that experience that it's not inconceivable that most religions come from people taking drugs?
Bro, I was about to get onto this, so I'm reading a book at the moment called The Immortality Key.
Is that from Graham Hancock?
The Immortality Code? Man's had too many gins in it.
Is it Richard Dawkins? No.
No, it's by Brian. Graham Hancock does the intro for it, man. And he does a fucking great intro, bro. Do you know who Graham Hancock is?
Nah.
You would have seen him on Joe Rogan or whatever.
He's amazing.
Basically, I'll tell you about the book and I'll tell you about his introduction. The Immortality Key talks about how there's an overwhelming amount of evidence that back in the day, thousands of years ago, there was use of psychedelics that
everywhere.
that essentially formed religious beliefs. And in my opinion, the very few experiences I've had with psychedelics and limited experience I've had with psychedelics, I can very much see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Because Graham Hancock's drawn evidence of like the swirly patterns and stuff and the things that you see that people have printed onto caves that are on one continent and then on caves on the other side of the world from thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
And these tribes weren't in contact, man, but they were probably smashing shrooms that were coming out of the
Yeah,
ground. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So that is most probably, in my opinion, where the very basis of religion
That has
came
to
from.
be like 100%.
But bro, the world don't want to hear that. Imagine being a devoted
Yeah.
Christian, upper class white male in the US, knowing that the very, very foundation of your belief
That's
came
probably
from a
worse.
fucking mushroom.
That's
out of the
probably
ground.
worse
It's not
than
just-
like hearing an atheist.
No,
Because that's like, you could just be like, no, it is. You don't believe that. Whereas
hang
that's
on,
like
hang on.
believable.
You're forgetting one crucial thing. So, drugs are considered immoral. They're on the argument of, Jesus was on shrooms for years and shit. Drugs in this country, in the West, if you take them, you are considered to be an immoral person. So
Yeah.
that's what would rock their fucking lovely world.
Yeah.
That's the issue with it. I've got a family who run a church in Australia. They are teetotal.
Really?
Yeah, man. They're soundest fuck people, teetotal. This would rot their brain. And also, same for Muslims and Christians, you don't drink. They're not meant to be mentally out of their state they're in now.
Yeah.
They're not meant to be high or drunk or seeing other worlds. The state that they're in now is for God and it's holy. And this completely, if Hancock makes this true in his lifetime, but he wanted me to see it. If he proves that it is true, it rocks their fucking world.
It
It
does,
just
mate.
completely ruins
It
their world.
of
rocks
course.
the very foundation of the vast majority of the world's beliefs.
And second to that as well, Johns Hopkins University and a few of us in America now are legalising trials for Ket, LSD, shrooms to use on people who if they suffer with abuse.
Mate,
Yeah.
Ket helps with
Trauma.
depression, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Microdosing like
Yeah,
Ket.
trauma
Yeah.
and depression.
Yeah.
Those three things. And like you said that one trip on ayahuasca was like 10 times therapy for you. Imagine that as someone who got abused by their dad at 12
Yeah.
for 2 years.
Yeah.
That because there's in Holland and some places in Europe, if you want to have yourself killed or euthanized, if you abuse a child or anything happens to your child, it doesn't matter how much chat to someone about it. It's not going away,
Yeah.
and you can't deal with that. A lot of people can't. They want to get
Mhm.
killed, suicide. Whereas this could actually be the fucking answer.
Bro,
You know,
I'm
for
a
millions
very
of
firm
people.
believer the answer to so many people's PTSD, depression, anxiety is potentially, it's not for everyone, but for a lot of people, it's potentially through the use of psychedelics. The best trip I've ever had is from psilocybin mushrooms. And
what was that like?
I just can't. We got mate. We hired out a fucking cabin in the rainforest in Brisbane.
Fuck, bro.
And we brewed it, mate. We went and picked the mushrooms ourselves as well. Well, I didn't do.
Fuck, bro. You die.
The lads went and picked them out of the fucking cow field, got them out of all the cow shit, took them back to the gaff, brewed a mushroom tea, went and hired an Airbnb in the rainforest in Brisbane.
Man,
Beautiful area.
sounds ridiculous. That's amazing.
Drank it and I just
Felt good.
It was like natural manding.
Yeah.
If that.
Did you feel in control of yourself?
Yeah, I felt. The only way I can describe it is, and this sounds like bare soft, but like I felt like I had the fucking heart of a lion in it.
Yeah.
I don't feel strong physically, like from a mental or spiritual.
Bro, that's powering me up. Yeah.
Bro, I was like,
shit.
I was like surrounded by nature. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
like
like,
Mowgli.
and I was like, this has grown out of a cow shit a few miles down the road.
Yeah, man.
Like, and in that book as well, he talks a lot about psilocybin trials being done on people with depression, PTSD, people that have.
I'll try it, man, 100%.
Wait, what's the term for like a never-ending terminal?
Yeah,
People that have terminal disease.
Yeah.
It helps them when they take psilocybin, and they have this trip and they come back and they're like, I'm comfortable dying.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah,
shit,
so
man.
as well.
Because everything is one, and I'm about to go and join this universal consciousness when I die.
Because Joe,
Jesus
because
Christ,
here's like someone else said, that comment, everything is one.
Couldn't.
There's a guy who said that I'm wrong, goes, listen, I've tried psilocybin and I realised I'm part of Hitler because everything is one and you are part of everything. And that is that.
But couldn't you say as well, like someone listening to that doesn't do anything like that could be like, well, it's clearly just making you a bit mental, taking it. Do you know what I mean? It's just someone could say, oh yeah. Well,
I'd say
what
I said they're wrong because the reason is they're wrong. Human beings have always, from 30,000 years, taken drugs. It's proven. The last 100 years, we've tried to cap it and say, no, you can't take drugs. So we take drugs. We always have the Inuits in Alaska will starve themselves for 3 days to get a high from being starving. We like getting high. We've always taken drugs. We always will take drugs.
That's how we roll.
You try to stop it now. The last 100 years.
Well, then that high is the wrong word.
Wrong
Altered states of
Altered states,
consciousness is what people strive for.
So they're wrong. So people like I'm generalising our parents' era. They've been brought up on drugs are bad, go to hell, drink alcohol, and smoke cigarettes. They're wrong, and people before them are right, and we're right, and science now is right, and it will just take time to come through.
I think wrong is the wrong word to use.
Miseducated.
I think it's just a very, very boring and bland view of the world. And at the end of the day, everything I've just told you about what I've experienced on psychedelics could literally be a few neurons firing off in my brain that is tricking me into thinking something.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, then so be it. But there's two ways of looking at things, do you know what I mean? I could look at that chair right there and go, that's a fucking chair.
Piece of shit.
It's an armchair.
Yeah.
Or I could look at that chair and say, that chair is made up entirely of atoms that have been in this universe ever since the dawn of time, because you can't create or destroy energy. So every bit of, I don't even know what fucking elements would be in there, iron, copper, whatever, have been in this universe since the dawn of time and have changed form over billions of years. And we're essentially one of the same, because every atom that makes me up, when I die and my body is burned, it will go into the clouds and then rain and then become soil, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's two ways of looking at things.
So how does that make you feel though?
When people say, oh, if you take a psilocybin mushroom, then you're just mental.
No, but I mean, like, does that, like, what's good about feeling at one with the, like, how does it?
An immense and deep sense of connectivity to everything around you.
So you're not sort of like, what's the point in? Yeah.
Well, the viewpoint I try and live by, and I'll be honest with you, mate, I don't live by this every day. I often forget it, but it's essentially that, like, fuck me, we are the universe experiencing itself in its plainest form.
Yeah.
Because everything that makes up you, and everything that makes up me, and everything that makes up you, and everything that makes up this room has at some point in time taken shape in a different form. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just
fucked up.
it's just fucking here.
Yeah.
Like, it is the universe experience itself in just tiny pockets of time, just all around the world. Like, it's just mad to think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me at least, when I kind of think about that, I can extend a certain amount of empathy to people. You know, you're a product of your environment at the end of the day, you know what I mean? So, you know, when someone is a born and bred suicide bomber for something like ISIS or some awful terrorist organisation in the Middle East, if you adopt that mindset of what I just spoke about then, you can almost extend a certain amount of empathy towards them, because from the day they're born, it's drilled into them, you must go and kill these people so that you can be welcomed into heaven, and you'll have 40 whatever the fucking the promised land is of them going to do that. So you can extend a certain amount of empathy towards them, because like, if from the day that you were born you were told you were the greatest trombone player to ever walk this earth, you'd think that about yourself.
Yeah.
If it was told to you every single day by your parents and everyone around you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've gone off on a bit of a tangent there, mate. But
I agree. But then I'm also like, because I do think that sometimes. But then I'm also like, I know it's not what you're saying, but I'm also like, when someone does that, that's where my empathy stops.
Oh yeah.
It's like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. You
100%,
won't say
like,
that,
I'm
but
certainly not condoning suicide bombers on the podcast.
you love suicide bombers. That's basically.
Fuck me, we shouldn't have. Wait, yeah, edit that out.
So, yeah.
Fuck me, that's dark.
But no, you. But fuck yeah. Right. That was good.
Oh, right, I went deep there, man. I didn't.
That was good.
I'm not comfortable with how that.
What?
What was
That was
sick, boy?
perfect.
All right, cool. Love it.
Half
Yeah.
eight.
I'm gonna start
Half
getting.
eight?
Bro, I'm gonna start getting
Half
DMs
eight.
tomorrow. People going, like, what?
Nah, bro, that was sick.
Mike, that was really good. The
Nah,
Ayahuasca
of
was really
course
good.
All right,
Really
love it.
detailed.
We'll talk about what quickly. Do
Yeah.
another
Is that
20 minutes.
is that raspberry Joe?
All right, oi.
No.
So basically, looping back to the whole fucking psychedelic thing, I told you about Graham Hancock's introduction to that.
Oh
book.
Yeah.
shit, yeah.
So listen to this for an introduction.
It's gonna get me gassed.
Imagine reading a book on sex, watching a lecture on sex, watching ridiculous amounts of porn, any other form of content you can conceive around sex, okay?
Yeah, done.
But the only way you can ever wrap your head around sex is by experiencing it, okay? So let's take that analogy and look at religion. You can read all about it, you can go and see a priest who will tell you God loves you, God, infinite love, blah, 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 blah. But in my opinion, well, what Graham Hancock writes in the introduction is he says, psychedelics allow you to experience God, almost. That infinite amount of love, you know what I mean? So it's comparable between the two. So it's like, you can go and have a priest tell you for 6 hours how God loves you and how God will forgive every bit of your sins or whatever. But you could also go and drop 3.5 grams of mushrooms and meet God for yourself. And so, you know what I mean? And fucking come to terms with any bad shit that you've done in the past and physically experience it.
Is that why some people, you reckon, say God is within me?
Yeah, man. I mean, fuck. Like, the term God is thrown around a lot. Like, back in the day, it was a bearded bloke in the clouds that threw lightning bolts down at people that, you know, didn't follow his rules. Do you know what I mean? I think, I don't know, like, God is this, in my opinion. God is everything, you know what I mean? Like, God can't be one symbolic, I don't know, entity that's just looking down on us like, we're doing wrong and you're doing right, and I just think...
like, what's it? I don't believe in God, but if there was like that sort of vibe, then what would be right and what would be wrong? Do you know what I mean? We're only looking at it from like
right and wrong is entirely characterised by human
Western
behaviour.
world is like, that's a lot of like what's right and wrong in the Western world is completely different in some parts of the world.
Bro, you go Saudi Arabia as soon as
1,000 years ago and 1,000 years ahead.
Bro, you go Saudi Arabia, the minute a girl has a I don't even want to say this on the podcast.
I'll bleep it out.
Girls marry as young as 13 in Saudi Arabia the minute they're able to.
Yeah.
They deem that as right.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm not like that's awfully
Fucking hell, that's suicide bombers. No. No, I'm joking. No, I know what you mean, because that's like, that's what I always try and think, like with the conspiracy theories, I'm always like you say, when you go down that sort of like, and with the psychedelics as well, I think you start going down that sort of like, well, what is right and what is wrong, and then you start being like, well, what's purpose and what sort of, what matters, like, does going to work matter, does where we live matter, does, and then it maybe starts to become I don't know what you think, like maybe that prevents you from
What you're meant to do.
What you no, yeah, and I'm not saying like you're meant to have a wife and kids and have a house and a car and a cat, but
Or a dog.
or a dog, but like
He's such a cat person.
if you're, I want to get a little dog, bro.
What?
I think
You
I
scared of
saw
dogs?
he was a cat person. Carry on.
fuck at that, bro. I ain't a cat
You
person.
scared of dogs?
Yeah, not little ones, though, bro. But yeah, like, I don't know, because then sometimes I don't even know what I'm saying, bro. But like, I just feel like once you get into that, maybe people are happier. Maybe you're, I don't know.
So you what?
Oh,
So it sounds like you're saying that
I'm just
if
lost.
you get into like learning about psychedelics, etc., things like that, you can sort of stray away from what you think you're meant to be doing. So get the house, the car, the kids, the life.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I think there's a middle ground. I think there's a balance.
Yeah.
You can realise that your job, your income, the mortgage, the Tenerife 2 weeks holiday, all inclusive, is all bollocks.
The cat.
And also the cat's fucking cats are shit. And also about realise that you are a vessel travelling through the fucking universe, and there are major things that you can see and experience that will open your mind forever, and that you are just one tiny fucking dot in this imagination.
Yeah.
No, that's
Basically.
interesting. Love that, mate. That was fucking
Yeah,
class.
that's good.
Fair play. There was a. So I'm reading this book at the moment called "The Laziness Does Not Exist." It talks about the origin of like. Basically, it's this woman who basically like drove herself to absolute burnout. Like went to hospital because she felt like she had to work every waking hour of the day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Japanese.
Oh, I've never seen a face, mate, so I can tell you she's American. But she talks about the origin of like where the term laziness comes from, and how in America, which was ultimately you had this massive wealth gap between the ultra wealthy and a ridiculous amount of slaves, and they had to give the slaves some way to fucking entice them to work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like work and God will be good to you, and he will reward you, and those that don't work, you know, hell, all this sort of stuff. And that's just from memory. That's not, I don't know if that's exactly historically correct, but it's sort of that sort of premise. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So that's kind of how this whole like incessant need to always be doing something like is kind of like bred into us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that obviously travelled back over towards, you know, the UK and whatnot. But it's interesting, bro, in the sense of like, I wonder if all of us in this room had never seen anybody else do the whole wife and kids, dog, mortgage with the house sort of thing, if we would necessarily want to follow that path.
It's
Maybe one of us would just be like, fuck it, I'll get a van and that'll be sound.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
It's so it's in Australia, that happened in Australia. In Australia, did you find there's a different type of work ethic? But I find in Britain people are very much, a lot that I know are very much money, things, image, and I must get this by this point, otherwise I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Is it in Australia? I've heard stories in Australia. It's more like
No.
they're living together on the beach.
Well, this is what I fell in love with Melbourne, really, mate, because you go to a place like Melbourne and you know, you bump into a bloke on a night out and 10 minutes later you're his best mate.
Yeah.
Because it's
That's
not
it.
like, do you know what I mean? It's like, what you saying? Like, what's your background?
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, they're just very much like, they value life and particularly in Melbourne, they value sort of like life and just living your life and just being happy. In my opinion, more so over than status and wealth. Like I found like Sydney's kind of like a mini London.
Yeah.
You kind of go out and it's like, what car do you drive? What clothes do you wear? Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, like I can only really comment on Melbourne in that aspect. Where for me, it was just like, look, you bump into a geezer on a night out, 10 minutes later, you're his best mate.
Do you think England's like that?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
anywhere in England?
I think, well, from my brief experience in France, like I remember being 19 here. I had mates that had an Audi, a Golf, something ranged about 21. There's French farmers running around in Wimbledon, in Simon's kind of between us,
Yeah.
and they're probably got a house worth 800 grand. They're not like
because they don't know any better, bro. Because
yeah,
they've never been judged for driving that car.
exactly,
Yeah,
and they're not buying the newest clothes. They're in rags. They might be probably millionaires in the bank,
Yeah.
and it's a different. Even the young people there wearing shitter clothes
Yeah.
compared to us on paper. And I feel like I came back in and I was like, it's just a rush every year. It's a rush. We're after money. We work longer hours. We have less time off work. We're more than happy. Our suicide rate's a bit higher than theirs. And I feel like, yeah, it's. And I can get why people go to Australia and be like, right, I've got a few less hours. I've got to do every day. I'm in the sun, vitamin D. Our lifestyle is rushed. It's hyper capitalism.
What I think as well though, like this is, I feel like not obsessed with happiness, but I do think like that's the most important thing because it is like what your.
Is that the right word for it though? Happiness.
Maybe not happiness, like your mental
fulfillment.
Yeah, fulfillment. Yeah,
That's
how
the
you
content.
feel about being content.
Content.
Yeah, being content. That's the. But and then in my head I'm thinking, what will make me most content, and that's what I need to do. And if it's working 9 to 5, building up some shit for my life, then that's it. What I want to do.
Fair
If
play.
it's living in a van, but I just don't know. It's like I don't want to choose either one, and you just don't. And then even if I don't choose either one, and then I get to 60 and look back and go, I should have done this, I should have done that.
Oh yeah, at some point
It's just always probably chasing that.
At some point you have to put your flag in the ground and say, right, I want to do this. Like you said earlier about passions. We know one person here who's done very well at his passion in life.
Yeah.
Most people, that's your lads.
Most people that's what they're saying.
Yeah, exactly. But
that shouldn't negate.
But
But
no one goes to you at 18, right? Your passion then was to be a footballer, but you shit. It's never gonna happen. So pick something, go and find a passion. And it's
They
not.
said that to me.
Yeah, fair play. But yeah,
I think you said that to me.
I mean, it's passion.
But-
It's fucking.
No, but I know what you were saying, Mike. Like you can have a passion and just enjoy it, and just.
And not,
envy
how to make
people's
it
passions.
everything.
and not have some kind of end.
There's bare flies in this house, man. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
You fucking Steve Joe?
If it could be that, man. I just don't know what it is.
Look, man. The richest man in the room is he who needs the least.
Yeah. That's deep.
And that's like honestly, mate. If you actually put that into perspective, it's ridiculously true. From a material aspect, not from a family aspect or anything like that, or a relationship aspect, because that's a completely different pillar. You know, there's a lot of pillars to fucking, I don't know, contentment or happiness, whatever you want to call it. But in my opinion, from a material standpoint, wealth and material possessions, he who needs the least will always be the richest.
Yeah.
Because if you have the ability to look at a man who has a Ferrari and the best designer clothes and genuinely feel any sort of envy towards him, you've won.
How do you get to that stage? Though? That's what because I know
Well, you see it for what it is. It's a piece of metal and a few cotton garments on it.
Did you watch on the other on ITV1? It's called Chasing Bond Street. So they're like ITV like a show like on Bond Street. It's got like Louis Vuitton, all the major shops are there, and flipping it's like lockdown opened in like early December, so the back reopened then. Queues are like 400 people at 8 in the morning in the cold,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, I shop here." And like
Yeah.
people like us that have just been working to save money for like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Mum, I'd get nothing from this.
Mm.
Like, even if I had, even though saving a heavy 80 grand or money, whatever,
Yeah.
and then I thought, oh, okay, it's like nice watch from there. I get nothing
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's just it's a thing. It's
What's
empty.
what gives you that?
Going
Happiness.
places.
Going places.
Yeah. I know so many jobs to be fair. I'd love to be able to work for 6 months, travel for 6 months.
Yeah.
You can't buy experiences, and I've been to school with people a lot actually when I was younger. Never been on a plane.
Yeah.
And I was like, just feel for you. I've been loads of places, but if anything, I'd just travel.
You can do that though, can't you? It's hard to like pick up a job and leave it, and then pick up a job and leave it. But I suppose
You
can.
could do it. I know someone who's that, to be fair, and doesn't give a crap. And I was like, fair play.
I think as well in my head, I'm like, I could go to. This is the thing. Like, I'd love to go to Australia for 2 weeks, and then come back. Like
That's a month, Australia.
Maybe a month, yeah. But I'd also, and I'm not saying I want to come. Like, this is so great, but like, I don't know. I don't want to like go travelling. I feel like that's the only way you can. Unless you've got bare pay.
No, I know the guy went to Peru, Colombia, and Brazil for 6 weeks and came back.
Yeah.
Just did it. It's not like again the idea of Australia is also and that part of the world is semi-based on Instagram and people we know of. In reality, like one of my mates one of my mates went to Australia for a month and came back. He loved it. There has to be like a 6 month sabbatical of.
You don't have to sort of go that hard.
I want to do South America for 2 months.
Yeah.
And then come back, and then maybe do like North America. Just definitely one of the. It's not binary. It's not one.
Yeah. Do you reckon it's too late to go travelling?
No. Why? I get that's exactly that's the thing. We're in that mindset of someone's gonna buy a house soon. And
Funny age, mate. It's a funny age.
No, but I'm not saying it's I'm not saying it's too late to go. But I mean, it's like you'd say, is it too late to go clubbing? Like, you could say, nah, of course not, you can go clubbing at any age, but you might look a bit weird at some clubs.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Comparison is pure.
Because the only way you would look weird is if you cared about how other people looked at you.
Yeah, that's true.
That is the only way you could possibly look weird.
That's very true.
It's based on someone's opinion of you.
Fuck, does it matter though? Because I know it shouldn't.
Why do it matter? There's people.
Do you know what's fucked, bro? Do you know what's fucked? What? Tell me now the last awkward thing you saw in person.
Awkward thing I saw in person?
Someone do. See how hard you both got to think about that. Now you know when you do something, then you think, fuck.
Yeah.
I've got one actually.
All right.
I've got my mum in LA. You know those electric scooters?
Yeah.
My mum got on that.
Slam his mum.
She got on that in LA. And she was pressing. She was like, "How do you do it? How do you do it?" And she's like sticking on the road like that. Past these people in these fucking like rows and rows of tents. And I was like howling, but like he was like struggling, but like it was funny, but it's awkward because like
that's fucking jokes.
It was,
but like, alright, what I meant by awkward was like the last time you heard someone say something, they're like, no one laughed, or something like that.
It's true.
Yeah.
You can't, boom, go like that.
Yeah.
But what's fucked is when we'll do something and be like, why have I just done that? Like, or like you'll go and like meet a load of people and be a bit socially anxious and be like, fuck man, are people thinking that I'm like not?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But it's like the reality is
100%.
everyone's so, because human beings are very self-centered people. Like we're self-centered animals. Like all we give a fuck about is ourselves at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to the pub next week and thinking, what are you doing?
Yeah.
How are you acting?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
So, looping back to your original point, the only way that you can never feel too old or too, I don't even know, too anything to do anything, is purely based on the way that people are going to perceive you performing that act or carrying out that particular thing.
Because also,
if you feel it's the right thing to do for yourself, then fuck me.
That just seems like the best way to be.
Because also,
but I just find that is hard as fuck. to get
it
there.
is.
To be like.
And I'm not saying I'm there, mate.
that,
Fuck me, I
Yeah.
as much as I say all this stuff, like
That's
I do care on
it's
some
hard,
level
man.
what people think
That's
about me.
it.
You know what I mean?
If you did, like, I always think, like, weekends, if I don't go out or something, I'm like, oh, it looks bad if I haven't gone out. Or in reality, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But, and like, if I wanted to now go into town and just dance,
you could.
right?
Like, bro,
this is what I'm saying,
you
like,
can grab her and go snap now. Yeah.
if I wanted to go to Broad Street now in Arcadian and just dance, right? Like, that would be so interesting.
Here's the thing for you both. How many times have you been out before and seen someone random, just probably older than us, dancing away, having the fucking time of their life? Someone goes, "Oh fucking hell, what a weird guy."
Yeah.
You know,
And I've been that guy. It's not
Yeah.
fuck me, look at him.
Yeah.
and they just
But
look. At
from
the thing
memory,
is
I
as
couldn't
well-
tell you what the fuck he
But,
looked like.
but that's the thing as well. Like, yeah, we still got to have that little bit in us where we are like.
we don't actually. I don't think
That's
we
the
do.
thing,
but
Well,
we
no,
do.
but
It's like that's what like it makes us and funny and to be like. Obviously, we'd never not in like a negative way. I don't think we'd ever see someone like and be like, oh fuck them. But like look at each other and be like, Jesus Christ. Do you know what I mean? Like that. To be like, but we'd never be like, I don't want to speak to that person. I don't like. But it is a bit to still have that where like that's a bit odd.
Yeah.
Doing something.
Well, this is also another thing, is that the opinion that people form of other people is more often than not a deep reflection of their own,
Yes.
of what they're deeply self-conscious about.
Yeah.
Okay, so like there are going to be people that watch this podcast that we're doing right now that are going to go, who the fuck do these people think they are?
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing? Like, what? But what that reflects is simply not the fact that we're doing something ridiculously out there. It reflects the fact that they are so deeply terrified of doing anything that's against the societal norm that they simply can't face that fear. So instead they reflect it onto everything else that they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
It's
It is
like-
very true, man.
It like you see it in everyone, in every kind
It's
of
happened
like,
again. It happened again. It's ridiculous, but oh well. Don't want to bring the mood down, but it could have been the best podcast of all time. It's probably only going to go down as like the top 5, but we'll get the guys back in. Like this video if you need to get. We're going to get Ben and Mike back in and do it properly.